have a great pile of individual items right here in my hand. But what I want to share with you is something very, very important. There are many people who watch our YouTube channel and our Manifest telecast who from time to time need additional income in their life. Perhaps their job or their retirement income is not enough to meet a particular need, or maybe an emergency that comes up. Now, it's very easy for people to try to turn to a lot of different sources for help, but many times you may have a treasure in your basement or a treasure in your attic that you are not familiar with. And I have been sharing this with friends and individuals that we have met that are connected to our ministry. And some of them have discovered items that have actually brought great value. But there are three things. One is you have to know what it is, you have to know the value of it, and you have to be careful to whom you take it to in an attempt to sell it. And I'm going to cover all of that today. This is going to be different. It's not going to be so much a scripture or a Bible study, but folks, you need to watch this because you might be shocked at something you have that's of value. So many people will have a yard sale and they will pull books and letters and postcards and just even coins and have no idea what they have, sell it cheap, and a person will buy it and flip it and make hundreds or thousands of dollars from sales. So that's what we're going to cover today. Now let me share with you a couple things. First of all, the only hobby I've ever had in my entire life is collecting. I started collecting stamps at about the age 8, coins at about the age 12, ball cards when I was about 19. And so holding on to these things over the years has ended up, in some instances, not all of course, having great value. The first thing I want to talk about are coins. Now, there are foreign coins, such as coins from the Middle East, that we've collected over the years through Holy Land trips that continue to go up in value. American coins, however, pretty much maintain the same value, except if they contain gold or they contain silver, which fluctuates with the price of gold and silver. But I want to make you aware of a couple things. First of all, these are called Morgan silver dollars, and we're going to show you what they look like. There's a Morgan silver dollar that is what's called encased. This has not been graded, but it's been encased. And here's one that you can just go buy in a store, and you can see the price they had on this was about $50 or so. Now, let me tell you something about these Morgan silver dollars. I know of an instance where someone came in and brought a large number of these in very good condition, and the man said, well, let me look at the price of silver. Well, the price of silver then was $15 an ounce. He said, well, let's see, $15 an ounce, it's an ounce of silver, I'll give you $12. And the person sold them like 30 of these coins, and I thought to myself when I heard this later, what an absolute ripoff, because these are coins of value. They're official American currency. And although that they have 1 ounce of silver, when you price them, unless they are in really bad condition, you'll probably get an ounce of silver, or what the cost of what they call scrap silver is if they're in bad condition. But if you can see, this one is in good condition. It's not been graded. I'll explain grading in a minute. But this coin, if you brought it in, you'd pay about $50 for it. It's an let me look at it. It's an 1886 Morgan silver dollar. And the Morgan silver dollars have great value. Now, this one is about a $40 coin, but if they are graded, and if you have coins, you have to have them graded if you want to increase the value. But if they're in poor condition, it's a waste to grade most of them. You only grade them if they're in good condition. There are companies that do this. But my point is, if you go to take coins, do some research on the value of the actual coin before you try to sell it to an antique store or a coin dealer, because what you don't want to do is just get scrap value of a coin that is in good condition. If it's not in good condition, you'll probably get what they call scrap silver prices or scrap metal. Now, a gold coin always maintains a higher value if it is true gold. There are counterfeit gold coins that were made in the 1800s, and some people collect those, believe it or not, but they don't have the value, of course, as an authentic coin. But be careful with your coin collections that you do your homework. If you have one that's handed down from your mother or your father, I know that pre-1964 coins that are dimes and half dollars and Benjamin and Morgans are of more value than post-1964 because they took pre-64 dimes and quarters and silver dollars and half dollars were 90% silver. They are of a better value than any coin after 1964. After 1964, unless it's an era coin or a rare coin, you won't get the same value out of it. But my point is, do your homework and don't let someone, unless it's just in really super bad condition and it's not worth much, take these type of coins and kind of rip you off with them. If you do have these though, you do have something of value. And some, like the Carson City ones, are of much more value, and there's a couple Morgan dollars that are extremely rare. Now the second thing, and this is something that a lot of you who are familiar with me personally know that we've done this for years, that for my birthday and Christmas throughout, or Hanukkah, whatever the case is, that throughout my life I have asked for boxes of ball cards. And I would show you a picture here, but I don't know how it would fit in with what I'm going to share, although it would fit in. But I'm going to show you two ball cards. And again, a ball card, if you are into ball card collecting, a ball card is, number one, the rarity. Your most valuable cards are always going to be rookie cards, although there are some that are of less value and some that are of much more value. But it's the condition. Now, in a ball card, the corners should be good, the card should be centered, the surface should be clean front and back, no markings on it. And of course, that makes the card of a little bit more value if there is value to it. You know, the average ball card may be 10 cents to 25 to 50 cents, what they call a common. But if you, for example, have Tom Brady rookies, or you have some of the stars of today, or you know, if you have cards from the 50s that are rookies, they could go for tens of thousands of dollars, and some go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, you could not even believe, and I'll tell you a story here in a moment. And again, I know this is different, but I want to help you, because I had a lady come to me and say, my father has an old ball card collection, nobody in the family wants it. I said, you go to your father, you tell him you want it. When I began to tell her the process of cards, she couldn't believe it. I bought this. This is from a Fatima cigarette pack. Now, I do not smoke, but I was in Elkins, West Virginia many years ago when Pam and I were first married. This would be 1983. And I bought this card for $50. And let me show you why it's important, because there is a player on the top row named Honus Wagner. Honus Wagner's card, and it was called a tobacco card. He didn't smoke, and he was very offended. Then, this is the story I've heard, putting his picture on a tobacco card. So there were only 6 of them that are out there, and they sell for $3.5 million. Now, this card has a slight tear in it, but it is valued now at about $4,000, and probably because of Honus Wagner's picture that is in the card. And again, it was bought years ago, and this is something I've just had hanging around for a long time. Another area of looking for ball cards, which can be very rare and very expensive, is old photograph albums. If you go to an antique store many times, you'll find that they have albums of older people from, let's say, the turn of the century. Some are from the 1800s, and you look for 2 types of pictures. Number one are Civil War pictures where soldiers are in their outfits, whether they're Confederate or Union, and you look for those. Number 2 is you look for pictures that may be signed by an individual who may have been a mayor or a governor or even a political leader. Number 3 is sports cards pictures. Now let me show you this one again. This was from an album. It was purchased very cheap. We were thumbing through the album, and this card was there, and I couldn't believe it was there. We do not know who the person is. We do know that it was printed in by W. Marshall, who was, I think, from Chicago, and we did some research, and there was a company that took ball card. But I want you to look at this. This was simply bought at an antique store in a book of pictures, but that is a player from the late 1800s. We can tell by the beard. You can tell by the way, the knickers that he's wearing and the high boots. And I've never had this card valued. I've had some offers for it, but this is, again, which was purchased very, very cheap, but most people would bypass this and not even think there's any value in it. Now, what I'm trying to share with you is that there are things that you can go and you can look at if this is something you enjoy. Now, if you don't enjoy collecting, or you don't enjoy holding on to stuff, and you think everything's junk, this doesn't mean a thing to you, but I'm trying to tell you that you may have something in your home of value. Now, once again, when pricing these, you have to be careful who you take them to, because if someone would know that they're of value and they think you know nothing about it, you could easily get ripped off and not be paid anything for something of great value. So in other words, do your homework. This card, by the way, right here is on the internet. So you can find it on the internet and you can compare the prices that way. So sports cards are very, very interesting. I want to tell you my story very quickly. I had a Aaron Rodgers 1-of-1 rookie card signed that I bought from a box 17 years ago for $40. And there was that card. And I just kept it and held on to it. So one day I contacted Golden Auctions, which is a sports card company. This was in 2022. And the man said, oh my goodness, can we put that for co-consignment? We did not know that card even existed. And nobody did. I had it graded at Beckett. It was graded a 9. And I want to tell you that my wife and I had so much fun because that card, which I bought from a $40 box, brought $26,000 at the Golden Auction. And so there again, we had something of value. And by the way, we had some house repairs we needed to do. Some things were really messed up at the house. And we were asking for some, because people just think because we do what we do and we sell books and tapes, we have money. We don't. Everything goes back in the ministry. So when I say we don't, we do have income, but I mean that doesn't go to me personally. So there are times that we have situations where we need, just like you do, the house, the cars broke down, the new engine is needed, the furniture is messed up, the refrigerator. I mean, we've had times when the washer and dryer goes out, outside that goes out, the air conditioner messes up. You've had it, we've had it as well. And so these type of things that may be in your home could be of value. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple more things. Now pay attention, because one of the biggest mistakes that's made by children who take over their parents' and grandparents' estates has to do with books. And I want to teach you something about books. Now, this is a book called Common Prayer, and it has the name Sarah Lucas on the front. I'll show you this here, and let me open it up, and I'm going to show you the inside of this book. And you have to be when you have an old book like this, you don't bend it all the way back because the spine can tear, and this is the original spine. But if you'll look on the inside, maybe you can see this. This book is 1809, and a lot of times in these old books, they will write on the inside cover or the back, or you would go through them. And I found one time an old stamp of great value that was inside of a book. It was just an 1800 stamp. So this particular book, for example, most younger generation people would see this in maybe their grandfather's house, and they would just sell it at a yard sale for $1 or $2. This book is worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so I want to teach you something about the books. Now, the majority of books that your parents would have bought or your grandparents would have bought may not be of a great value, but how you examine a book is, number one, you look at the inside cover to the printing, and it will say first edition printing, 1888, 1790, whatever, but it'll mention first edition, or it will have there the date of the printing, and it will not have second printing, third printing. Now, a first edition book is always of greater value than a second, third, or fourth printing. If you, for example, I went to a store here in town, I won't tell you where it was, and it was a store where people bring in their books, and I found Longfellow's books, Charles Dickens books, and they were first edition books. I could not believe it, and actually paid just a few dollars for all of these books that I bought that were rare books. So if you have a writer that is well known and you have a first edition book, you do not put that in your family yard sale. You do not put it in a big yard sale and sell it for $2 or $3. There are books, as strange as this sounds, there are books that are first edition. Some of them are rare children's books like Mary Poppins books or Gone with the Wind. First edition Gone with the Wind books are worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some of them are, and again, it depends on the condition. You just can't go in and say, well, it's an old book, so it's worth a lot of money. The condition has to do with the price of it. Whether it's a first edition or not has to do with it, whether it is autographed by the author. Sometimes books are autographed by the author, and it brings a lot more money. In fact, I found a book at a bookstore, and I bought it, and it had a line in there that it was owned by the man who owned the Titanic that committed suicide. And I say owner, he was part of the company that owned it, but he committed suicide, and it told the whole story in ink and gave his name and dated it. Well, of course, now that book is of more value because of the information that is recorded in the book. So when you are going through, for example, let's say your grandparents passed away, your parents, don't just go through and throw a pile of books in a box and go sell them at a yard sale for $5. And again, if it's a book that's a known author, a first edition, do research to see if there is an auction company. It depends on the kind of book it is. An auction company may not spend money for $50 to $100 book. You could get that at an antique store. But if it's a rare book, it's worth something. Now, I will tell you another story of mine that's very interesting, and that is that I went to an antique store in town of a friend of mine, and he had just purchased this huge box of books. There was a book in there that was that wide, and I can't even, I'll go off the screen. It was really huge, and it had artistic drawings in it, and it was old paper, and it was in French, and the front of the book was scripted in beautiful script in original ink. It was not like a printing press. I said, wow. And I said, how much do you want for all the books here? He said, I haven't even looked at them. Give me, I think it was $450. Well, I took that book home, and it is the artist Raymond Lafage, who is a French artist from the 1700s, and it's 50 of his original drawings. Now, when I say original, I mean they are dating back to that time frame. They're all dated, and that book, the paintings in that, the drawings in that book, we don't take it. You know, one thing people make a mistake with is they take a book with drawings and they take it apart and they frame them, and that's the way to destroy a book of great value. We've not taken any of these pictures out, but they're $1,000 per picture, and we estimated at the Antique Roadshow that kind of a book would be in the condition it's in, the cover's messed up, but in the condition it's in is a $50,000 to $150,000 book, and I actually paid $400 for it. And there's someone that's opening up an antique store in Knoxville that may look at this book and take it. Now, again, I'm a collector. I like old books. I have a lot of old books. I collect. My wife said I'm a collector of useless junk until I sold that ball card. Now she's happy that I've collected stuff because we were able to fix the house up. So you might need income, and I want to tell you again, be careful. Look through the books, look through the covers. Do your research. There is so much information on the internet that you can go through, and I'm going to show you one or two more things here because this is something, again, that is very, very, very significant, and that is old war pictures. Now, old war pictures, my father had a book one time, and there was a black and white photograph, we have it somewhere, of Iwo Jima where the men were hoisting the flag, and it is a picture of it in black and white. We've never had it checked. We know it's not the original picture. It's a copy of the original picture. But also, my dad was given many years ago from a man that fought against the Nazis in Germany. He was given a pack of pictures that he found, and they were pictures that were taken at the time of the Holocaust. And we also have those. We've never showed those much because some of the pictures are horrible pictures. It really breaks your heart. But those, my friend, are historic photographs. And that's something, again, you don't want to sell in the yard sale. The final thing I'll share with you, now stay with me because I'm going to conclude with something here in a minute, are what we call postage stamps. Now, you can find letters. I'm a person that I love to go to stores and I say, do you have old documents? I have a 7-page letter that is from the doctor that was the senator connected to the doctor that did Lincoln's autopsy, and it mentions Lincoln, it mentions Grant, it mentions the vice president, and it's 7 pages in length. And I got it at an antique store for just a few dollars because the person, I guess, didn't even realize what was in it. So these are old stamps. Now, there's a lot of the value, and I collect stamps, so I can tell you about stamps. The older stamps are of more value. Some of them have what's called grills on the back, and some do not. A grill stamp is something that was put on there to help hold the stamp on the letter. The most valuable stamps are stamps that have not been stamped with a postmark. In other words, there's no postal mark on the stamp itself. Now you can see this has a mark. Now all these marks can be different, and you can see 3 different letters here. Now, believe it or not, these can be of extreme value depending upon the postal mark or the fact that it's unmarked or the fact of where it came from or who the letter is to. And so one of the things I've always enjoyed doing is going through antique stores and looking for these letters. Here's one that I got that actually looks like it's from a whiskey company. Of course, we never drink. So anyway, this was, I don't even know the postmark, but look at the beautiful stamp that's on there. Now, once again, these would sell for sometimes $10, $20, $30, $50, $80, $100, again, depending upon the stamp. Postcards, again, are interesting. I'll tell you a story about a postcard. And that was that someone was selling the postcards on the internet, and they showed the front and the back, and somebody offered them this huge amount of money for a postcard. You can see that. Let me get that upside down there, okay? And here's why. On the back of the postcard, the date was December 7th, 1941, and it happened to be the day Pearl Harbor was attacked. And that postcard was valued at hundreds of dollars. Once again, most people, and I'm going to say this, it's going to be your children or your grandchildren that have no, they don't like your old stuff. They don't care about your old books. They don't care. So what you need to do, in my opinion, is if you have a lot of old stuff or you have antiques and you're up there in years, is you can, again, find the right people, do your research, find people you can trust, and start selling what you have now, and use the income to help pay additional bills that you may have. Use the income maybe for some things that you need at your house or whatever, and help take care of yourself. I'm 63 years of age. I've traveled the world in 46 years. I have been able to go to all different parts of the world. Sometimes I would buy old books. Sometimes I was in Bulgaria when communism fell. They were on the street, literally at tables, selling stamp collections and dolls and things. And I just brought some of that home with me. Of course, I purchased it. I didn't just bring it home. And some of that is of great value now. So at my age now, what I'm doing is I'm beginning to sell off a lot of things that I have had in a collection for many years. And I told my kids, me and your mama are going to sow to help the people that the ministries. We don't just give money out to strangers. We don't do that. But we support feeding programs and churches that feed people. And we're going to take the money and we're going to plan it, and then we're going to take vacations on your inheritance. That's what I tell them. I said, I had to work hard, so we're going to sell stuff. So I'm in the process of selling a lot of things that I have collected over the years, and we're also building a Holy Land Museum. As most of you know, these are some of the relics that are there, thousands of relics at the museum. That's one of the things that we want to leave as a legacy to this generation and to the people here in the United States, where they can understand the history of the Bible. But I hope that, now this has been a very lengthy YouTube video, but what I'd like for you to do is don't just throw stuff in a yard sale. Don't just put old books in the yard sale, old stamps, all that, and just sell it cheap. Do research. And as I said, the internet is a place that you can find all the information that you need to know and you want to know, and you might be surprised. Some time back, a man went into an antique store and bought a painting. And he bought it for several $100s. And when he took it home to have it examined, and going to have it, I think he was going to have it reframed. There's a story behind it. He found a copy of the Declaration of Independence behind it worth $2 million. And of course, once he bought it, it belonged to him. The store couldn't come back and reclaim it. So I'm not telling you that you're going to be wealthy or a millionaire with the stuff, but I will tell you there might be a treasure in your house, and just be careful throwing everything in a yard sale, even your son or your dad's old ball cards, because somebody's going to take that stuff and resell it and have it graded or whatever and come back with amazing things. I'll give you one example of a ball card while it's on my mind. The company that we mentioned a moment ago that is an auction house for rare cards had a ball card that it would have been in a pack. It would have been in a $3 pack. Someone saved it, had it graded at a 10, which is a perfect card. Now watch this, and just sold it for $650,000. And honestly, if I had that kind of money, I'm not going to go buy a ball card for that. I'm going to sow it and do something with it of value, especially of value for the kingdom of God, which is, but there again, God uses things. The Bible said, men, give to your bosom to help you out. And the Bible teaches us wise investments for the kingdom of God's sake. So always remember this, that God blesses you to take care of your needs, but He also blesses you to be a blessing. And I wanted to share this with you. I've had so many questions. I've had people come to me that know me personally. They said, we've heard you teach this and talk about that. Could you do a YouTube video to help us understand some things so that we don't, go and sell something of great value that would help my family and just give it away cheap to someone and they go and resell it. So that's what this teaching is about. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up. And, from time to time, we go off of the regular subjects and we do something fun. And we've got a very fun project coming up at the end of the year, something a lot of you may be interested in. I'm not saying anything about it till the time comes. It's going to be very interesting, exciting, and fun for families, to say the least. And that'll be, and when I say the end of the year, if you're watching this in 2023, it's already out, but by the end of 2022. All right, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I know this one has gone long, but I hope you've learned something. And if you happen to sell something and you found something as a result of this, and it blessed your family, and you were able to bless the work of God or your family with it, just let us know. Send us an email, because I'd love to hear your stories. It's a lot of fun reading some of the neat things that happen to you. Thank you again, and God bless you. Keep watching. We always have a special offer at the end of each YouTube teaching. Our new offer is one of the most important prophetic teachings in the history of Manifest. Hebrew expert Bill Cloud and I teamed up on this 10-hour teaching to unlock the mysteries concealed in Israel's 7 festivals. This album has 11 DVDs that are 21 30-minute lessons. They include illustrated messages and charts and pictures to enhance the details of the research. On the first DVD, I explain God's 7 appointed festivals along with God's prophetic calendar. Bill Cloud then shows you a complete Passover Seder and explains the mystery of unleavened bread, unlocking its prophetic purpose, including the revelation of the Messiah. I then follow up, taking you on a journey to illustrate the prophetic layers found in the Festival of First Fruits. Bill presents the 4th festival, dealing with the powerful significance of Pentecost and its impact upon us today. On DVD number 6, I will explain the 3 fall festivals and how they are yet to be fulfilled, showing how trumpets and the different shofar sounds on that day encrypt the mystery of Christ's return for his bride and the resurrection of the dead in Christ. Then I explained the biblical and ancient temple rituals of the 6th festival, Yom Kippur, and how they detail the great tribulation judgments yet to come. On DVD number 9, see Bill Cloud set up a sukkah, walking you step by step through the practical and prophetic meaning of Israel's 7th festival, also known as the Seasons of Our Joy. Among the live audience, the most talked about DVD was lesson number 10, where I examine Israel's 3 biblical harvest cycles that prophetically conceal the rapture of the tribulation and the millennial kingdom through the festival harvest patterns of ancient Israel. The 11th and final DVD will stir your spirit as I reveal God's plan to restore His glory to the earth in these last days. This teaching introduces to the viewer unique Hebrew word studies, fresh biblical insight, unusual Jewish customs, and exciting prophetic truth, helping you to understand the future according to God's festival calendar. It was preached before a live audience of ministry partners, and this teaching was originally designed as a Perry Stone Bill Cloud ISO Bible course that normally is $150. However, right now you can receive the 11 DVDs as a limited time offer in an album for your donation of $75 or more. To order your set, go online at perrystone.org, call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD, or write the ministry and send your donation of $75 or more to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now remember, when writing or calling, use offer number 11DVD101. Help keep Manifest on the air. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about: perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries. Resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.